G'day gardeners, it's the middle of October now and our spring garden is really hit its stride. Things are growing really fast. We've had some rain. Yesterday we had some severe thunderstorms and large hail. So there's a fair bit of plant damage now in the garden, unfortunately. And if you can see behind me, it's actually, we're going to get a little bit more rain again this morning. It's the same weather system still passing through and we should get another 5 or 10 millimeters again today. We've had plenty of rain now this month, which is great. A great change from the dry weather we had coming out of winter. So let's get into the garden and have a look at what's going on. So first of all, we'll start over here at the bed with the potato onions. Next to the potato onions, I've actually pulled the garlic now and I've put cow manure in that bed just to rejuvenate it and get it ready for the next crop. Potato onions are still maturing. They're maturing quite slowly as they do. Nothing new to add there. Behind there, most of our pots are doing really well. Those flowers over there, I think they're cosmos, are going to start flowering soon. Most of the herbs in those pots are doing quite well. These two pots here, which had potatoes in it, they've got potatoes in it again now. I managed to chip the potatoes and I've placed them in the pots and they're starting to root. I checked one the other day and it's starting to put roots in. So they should have plants coming out very soon. They're going to be late potatoes, but that's okay because it extends our potato season. It's, you know, and last year we had a really great crop, but it was all at once. So we had all these potatoes coming out of the ground at once. This year, we'll be harvesting in a staggered few weeks, probably around Christmas time. Okay, moving on, guys. This potato is doing very well. The peas here, you can see the peas are actually at the end of their tether now. They're starting to die off from the bottom, and the bushes, are basically going to die all the way up. Some of these I'll harvest off today, some of these big fatter ones here, but some of the drier ones, I'll see if I can spot a drier one for you. Oh, there you go. I actually can't. I can't see any real drier ones, but some of what they do is they basically just dry out the pods, and I'll use those ones, all the best pods anyway, that I'll let them dry out and use them for seed for next year's crop. Now moving on to the golden podded peas, you can actually see we've got plenty of pods on there. They're only just starting to fatten up now. So we'll be eating those peas now after these ones, and those ones will probably give us another week or so extension of peas this year, which is nice. You can see a couple of them there getting nice and fat. That probably needs to come off, and we'll eat those soon. So they're doing very well. They'll be done in about a week and a half and probably out of the ground in about 2 weeks, and I'll replace them. I think I'm going to replace them with cucumbers. Moving along. Oh, actually, we'll go over here first quickly. That's the other line of peas we got over there. Yesterday we harvested nearly half a kilo, about 440 grams of peas, potted, shelled peas that is, just from that those vines just there. So doing very well. There's still quite a few to pick on there, as you can see. There's probably about another 150 grams of shelled peas. All right, let's move on. Leeks are doing okay, they're doing well, they're just slowly fattening up, nothing to report there. Same with the onions. The onions are really thick now at the bases and they're actually starting to slowly bulb out at the base. So we'll have the onions starting to fatten up over the next few weeks. Behind there, our beetroot's doing quite well, and I'll move around so we can see it a bit better. There we go. Beetroot's doing very well. It's very healthy, and you can actually eat these leaves as salad. We haven't been as of yet, but we've done it in the past. Harvest the beetroot leaves and eat them for salad. They're doing very well. Oh, I've got a random tomato. There you go. That's come up in the last 3 or 4 days, and I just haven't noticed it because it's almost the same colour. Sage is doing well. It's finished flowering. Well, no, it's got a few more flowers to come out there yet, but that's getting kind of overgrown by these beetroots. And these ones here are doing very well. Still not sure what these are, but you can actually see, I'll show you this. There's the hail damage from yesterday. Yeah, they got it pretty bad. These ones, not too bad, but still a few split leaves here and there. But these bigger leaves, obviously they suffer more having bigger leaves. Alright, let's move on. This bed's doing well, and you can see here, I've actually planted now 3 tomatoes into the ground just here, right in the middle of this bed. and eventually they'll grow up, and I'm going to stake them. And these cabbages, I'm not going to grow these cabbages for heads this year. What I'm doing with these now is I'm using them as bait, essentially. So they're acting as bait for the cabbage moth. The cabbage moth will come along and lay their eggs on these and not lay their eggs in my lettuce, because they've got an option of cabbage. They're going to lay their eggs on the cabbage. And you can see, actually, look at the holes in there. They got smashed as well. Hail yesterday was pretty awful. Let's move on. Now, this is the potato bed. And the potato bed's actually doing very well now. You can see it's already flowering. And they're actually not that high either, which is interesting. Last year, these were probably another foot higher before they started to flower. But they're already flowering. There's quite a few tubers in here. And there's a couple more that I chitted that I've planted in. There's one that was just there. You can see. There we go. There's a little plant just coming through right there. That's one that I planted about 5 or 6 days ago that I chitted up again. And the other ones that I chitted, they're all planted in here, so they're probably going to come out of the ground in another week or so. So again, with the potatoes, we're going to have a staggered crop this year, but that's okay. That's perfectly fine. I just got to make sure when I harvest these, I don't disturb the ones that aren't as mature, and we should be fine. Okay, let's move around now to our carrot and lettuce bed. Doing very well, but we're just not eating the lettuces. We're not getting through them. So these lettuces are slowly starting to bolt. We just can't eat that much lettuce. I grew a lot of lettuce because, you know, it's easy to grow. It's fun to grow. But the reality is you can't really eat that much lettuce. Well, I can't anyway. I can eat those carrots. We'll consume probably all of those carrots. No problem at all. But yeah, lettuce, I'm going to grow less lettuce next year. Try and find other plants that I can grow coming out of winter that we also enjoy eating. You know, sometimes you just grow things because you want to see how they grow. And this is the first year I grew this variety, this mini cos. So I wanted to see how they went. But next year, I love them, but next year we'll just grow less, and I'll see if I can find something else, a companion plant I can grow with them coming out of winter. It'll probably be something like the Chinese cabbage, because I'm going to grow the brassicas later this autumn into winter when the moth are gone, and some of the cabbages, the Chinese cabbage, I might grow that through and out the back of winter as well, and see how that goes. So just I don't know, you grow things from time to time that you're not sure if you're going to love them or hate them. Sometimes you grow a whole bunch of things to see what they're like, and you end up with too many and you just can't eat them. So that's just how it is. They're not going to be wasted though. No plant like this is going to be wasted. The ones that we don't eat will be pulled and they'll be composted. They'll go back into the ground eventually one day and back into the soil, and all those nutrients and minerals will go back into the soil again. So it's a web, a circle here. So everything that comes out we don't use goes into that compost and back into the soil. Now, let's talk about the corn. We're really struggling with this corn variety this year. We've had some pretty atrocious luck with it. We've had birds attacking it. I've planted extra seeds twice now and had failures. So I've already got a packet of Super Sweet from the local hardware store, and I'm on the verge of just planting Super Sweets in there as well. They're more vigorous growing corn than these ones obviously are. These are the least vigorous corn I've seen now in 3 seasons that we've grown corn. So I'm not that really happy with this variety. I have planted the rest of these seeds now in the greenhouse in one of my trays. So I'm going to grow them up as seedlings and plant them in as seedlings. And maybe this variety would be better planted as seedlings than put straight in the ground. But it also could be that I just put them in the ground a little bit early. Not 100% sure. Either way, I'm disappointed. We had really great corn crop last year, so I've got to get, this week I'll get on top of it and get either Super Sweet sown in or get something done, because we don't want to miss out on corn. Last year we had a great crop, like I said, and we just love corn. We'll eat the whole lot. Okay, moving on. Sunflowers are doing really well. A lot of leaf damage though from the hail yesterday, unfortunately. The figs are doing well. I started putting the trellis in, but the swaging tool I was using, that I bought from Bunnings, was absolute garbage. And I couldn't even cut the 3.2mm wire, even though it was rated for 3.2mm, it wouldn't even cut the wire. So I've got to take that tool back, get a refund, and go to a tool store and buy an actual proper swaging tool, just so I can get the wire swaged on the end through those loops. And because it's a special clamps that you put over the wire and you clamp them on. Yeah, so that's still a work in progress, unfortunately. I'll show you our hops quickly. The hops are doing very well up here. They were protected from the storm yesterday, although there is a little bit of hail damage. Unfortunately, they got a little bit hail damaged as well, like a lot of plants in our garden did. But this little tip here, doing very well. I'll just grow that one up onto that string there. This one's going gangbusters, look at it. They just instinctively know to curl around string. It's amazing to see. And this one here has got to be put there. They're actually very rough. So the actual stems and the underside of the leaves have got like dozens of little prickles on them that are really, really rough. And they're like sandpaper, a cross between sandpaper and glue. And they stick really well to strings or poles, things like that. Interesting plants. Can't wait to brew beer with those. Hopefully I can get enough hop cones that I can actually brew some beer. Uh-oh. Crazy cat. Okay, let's move on, guys. I'm going to take you over to the other sunflowers. These ones are magnificent. They're approaching 7 foot tall. They've got their flower heads on them. They haven't quite developed to the point where they're going to open, but you can see the flower heads on them. Look at that. That'll be opening soon, but they're nearly 7 feet tall now. I did not know that variety was going to grow that tall. I thought that would have been a more compact variety, but there you go. Again, you can see the leaf damage from the hail yesterday. Thank goodness it wasn't bigger. The hail got to about 3 centimeters in size. If it had gotten bigger, golf ball or bigger, these plants would have been shredded. We would have lost this entire crop. Actually, we would have lost a lot of plants if that was the case. So glad the hail wasn't that big, but still, plenty of damage. These ones are starting to open up, those flowers. But apart from that, oh, one more thing. I planted the dill in the ground over here as a cluster, and I've put a layer of compost around this area here. I've given that a haircut so it doesn't encroach over these plants and crowd out the light. So I want that dill to take off. There's a whole cluster of dill plants in there and I want them to take off. Hopefully they do, so we can have some dill. And if you look up there, you can see the storm that's coming this morning. It's a very strong low pressure system for this time of year. Okay, we'll move on and we'll finish in the greenhouse. Should be nice and warm in here. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's beautiful and warm in here. Okay, so we've got some tomato seedlings on this side. These are the ones that they were there last week. Not in the ground yet, but doing quite well. They're my daughter's tomato seedlings. I've got to find a spot for those. I honestly don't know where I'm going to put them. I'll probably have to put them in a pot or something like that, I suspect, because I just don't have a spot for them yet. Okay, in this tray here, I've planted corn in these 3 rows. That was the extra corn that I told you about. I'll grow them up as seedlings in here. Hopefully I can get nice strong seedlings that can drop into that bed and catch up to the other ones that are already in the bed. At the back here, I've planted pumpkin. Oh, there's one coming through just there. These are ironbark pumpkins. And at the back there's a variety of chili called Maui purple chilies. They're a Hawaiian chili. And apparently they start out purple, the fruit, and they're kind of a mild heat. And as they ripen to red, they get much hotter. Interesting concept, interesting kind of chili, and I'm looking forward to trying that. The pumpkins, we're getting them ready now. They'll be going in the ground in November. So it's the 15th of October today, so we should have nice big pumpkin seedlings ready to go in the ground first week or so of November, and it'll be nice and hot by then. And they should thrive in the garden. Hopefully no more severe thunderstorm outbreaks like we had yesterday. Underneath we've got some more spare tomato seedlings there growing well. That's actually a different variety. These I think are the San Marzinos, I think, looking at those leaves. More capsicum and or chili, I'm not 100% sure. And that's the thing, some of these plants in here, I'm a bit lazy and I haven't actually labelled a lot of my plants, unfortunately, but that's how I am. So these ones here, capsicums and or chilies, we'll find out when they start the fruit. But they're doing very well, very healthy. These tomatoes look fantastic. These guys here, these cucumbers, they need to go on the ground. And I'm waiting for my peas to finish so I can plant those in where the peas are. I've got 4 nice seedlings there, 2 quite advanced ones, and 2 that are about a week and a half or 2 weeks behind those. So very healthy looking cucumbers, really excited to get some pickled cucumber again. These double yield ones are fantastic. They taste so good as pickles. They're real traditional looking pickled cucumber when you pick them small. And when they grow large, they're like a proper salad cucumber and they taste delicious. So a really handy cucumber to have in the garden. And lastly, I'll show you the strawberries. They're doing well. That plant's doing well. Still putting out small leaves. It's had a couple of issues there, and I think it's had a bit of a slug, and I've got to look for that. I think there might be a slug in here somewhere. This one here is doing well, even though it's kind of small. That one there surviving. So I mean, they're basically just surviving. This one here is starting to thrive. This one I'm happy about. It's got a couple of weeds in there too, I can see. But this one's starting to thrive, so that should, this particular plant should really bloom up and take over this pot in the next few weeks. These two, hopefully they can get enough energy to keep putting out leaves and just get stronger and stronger. That one's looking good. And I did plant a couple of bit of rhizomes in these 2 pots here, but there's nothing there, so I don't think we're going to get anything out of those. So we'll find something else to put in those 2 pots. Oh, in the time, we're going to be planting that back in the garden soon, hopefully. So that'll be for a future week. So there you go, gardeners. That's our garden now. It's the 15th of October. This is pretty much right bang in the middle of October. Garden's doing really well. We're harvesting peas, harvesting lettuce, about to harvest carrots. Everything else is growing very well, nice and green. We've got plenty of rain now, so that rain's good for the crops just to get things growing. And we've had storms too, which is also good, but we've had severe storms, which has done a little bit of damage to some of the plants. So typical kind of mid-October, mid-spring garden. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you got something out of this video. If you have any comments or questions, leave them below. Otherwise, I'll see you next week. Cheers.